Hey guys, welcome to the stream. I'm Anna. Hi, Anna Davis Court here, and today I'm going to. Oh, wait, I should switch you to. Hi, you can see me and the stream. Yay. So, this is my Cintiq. I will be painting tonight these three little characters. Now, last time we streamed, we painted like 6 characters in a night, so I'm hoping we can get this done in a semi timely fashion. Real quick, while I remember, I should mute my computer because I know that it kills your guys' ears when you hear stuff on here. So, if anything's too loud, if anything's too whatever, you just let me know in the comments and I will definitely fix that for you. I have the windows open today because it's really nice outside, so if a super loud car comes by, I apologize and just let me know and I can close the windows. So, let us get started. So we've got these 3 characters here. There are multiple purposes for me making these characters, which I would always recommend if you are making new work. Always think about how you want it to be used. So yeah, I can just go through the multiple reasons that I'm creating these characters if you want. The main reason is I'm actually starting a character design class this summer. And so I wanted to not only give myself some practice, but I also wanted to create a hero image for the class. So one of the things that you when you're gearing up for classes, what you need is basically content to post. So stuff you wouldn't think of, like images of exactly what you're creating. One of the things I wanted to do was also go through the process myself that I was expecting students to go through, just to make sure that I know exactly what I'm asking of them. Right now, I'm just enlarging these characters, and I will duplicate them as well. So I'm gonna put them in a group, Alt drag, and boom, there we go, duplication. By the way, ignore my file structure. This was actually a different file completely, and then I started sketching within it. This happens all the time where I'm just like, oh, I want like a sketchbook layer, so there it is. But anyways, so I'm using this as a hero image, hopefully, if I like it enough. If I don't, then I have other options to use, which is great, because then I have a backup. But I also was going to add this to my portfolio because I want more diversity. Sorry, that was a loud car. I want more diversity of characters in my portfolio. Right now I have a few races represented, a few, different genders and body types and all that stuff, but I want more. So the goal is to basically make characters of everyone, like any possible kind of race, cultural background, whatever, disability, anything like that. Like, I just want a ton of different characters in my portfolio so that I can represent anyone and tell the story for anyone. So these kids are basically non-white, in my mind at least. This is a Hispanic girl. This is a Asian descent. I'm not sure, maybe Chinese, and then a black boy. And so I'm hoping to use the colors to really resonate with those paths. Like, I want them to read as what they are in my mind. So that's the goal for today. We're gonna start coloring in these guys. Let's start with little dinosaur jacket guy. It's just too cute. So I had him actually in a tiger jacket at first, and then I realized, oh wait, I just did that. Like last week, I had an alligator wearing a tiger jacket. So not only that, but I also really loved this design once it popped into my head. It's like a little dinosaur with these escalating circles going up and like dissipating on the jacket. I also want his arm to be a different color, but don't worry, we'll get into that. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use my bristle brown brush. It's one of my favorites. You'll see it a lot. And I'm just going to use an arbitrary color. I kind of think greens for him because of the dinosaur, but I might add some like browns to it. Maybe some gold because I'm addicted to gold. I love gold. And we're just going to start roughing him in. And I might be getting too predictable with the gold. But the idea here is the exact same one that I was using for the animals that I did last week. And I think it was last week, right? Where I'm laying in this loose undercoat of color. And we're going to use this in the future, but we also kind of want it to bleed through a little bit. So all these little holes, I'm not looking to fill those in. Those are part of the texture and the charm of the piece. So it's not that the goal is to be perfect in any way. It's to actually not be perfect. The goal is much harder when you're trying not to hit it. But yeah, it's become a kind of oh hey Studio Long, you're now hosting. Is that a thing? How exciting! Can you whisper to me? But anyways, this the kind of handmade look that I'm going for has made me drift more and more towards looseness and creating work quickly, which is all good by me. I am totally down to not spend as much time fiddling with stuff. So now we have the gold layer. I duplicated it and I'm going to fill it in with the green. I think that already looks really cool. And now I can go in and use that gold color, which I might change this in the future because I did just use gold. Hey, Studio Long, how are you? You just streamed today, didn't you? I'm sorry I didn't tune in. I had to do certain things, but yeah, you were doing stuff on the internet. You're a busy lady. Yeah. So right now I'm just filling in a little bit of gold. Totally fine to be messy again. Just overlap, and I love that look of bleed through. See, the problem is I love this gold and this green, so you know I'm going to keep it, and then I'm just going to have gold as my background color always, which, if anything's always your thing, it's kind of limiting. So I want variety, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with this piece. The cool thing is you can always just throw a hue saturation adjustment layer over it and change it to any color and see how it works. So there is no downside. We're only going up. Plus, this character is such a simple design. It's basically mostly jacket and then a few legs and a face. So it's very, very simple to change up the colors and like just have blocked out areas and stuff and change it up really quickly. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah, Studio Long, you were on Instagram. That was what it was. I wasn't streaming. My dog was. Well, that's perfect. I envy that very much. I want a dog that streams. Bring home the money. Lil Bean, hi Anna. On the going live photo today, it looks like you have a grip on your Cintiq pen. Indeed, I do. This is an ergonomic grip. I believe the brand is like Ergo, because that's what it says on there. James actually told me about this, where he researched and found it. I believe it was on Amazon. And basically you just take off the grip that's on your stylus and then slip this on. It's a little scary because you're like, I don't want to break it in any way, but it really isn't easy to break anything. You just have to make sure that this like little, what do you call this? Sorry, again, my windows are open, so if the cars outside are too loud, just let me know and I can close them. Anyways, so this is like a screw on top, and you just have to make sure that it doesn't screw too tightly, or else it could cause undue pressure on your precious stylus. And these things are like $80, maybe $100 for the new Pro ones, so that's not a little amount of money. You want to keep everything safe. Studio Long says, hey, Lil Bean. Lil Bean says, I've tried looking around for one. Do you have any recommendations? I would definitely recommend this one. A few legs, more than two? What? Yeah, I keep a gaggle of legs going at the bottom of all my characters. We could just throw a few, like a walk cycle underneath him. That'd be great. Actually, he'd be pretty fun to animate with just like the legs moving and him bobbing a little bit. That'd be cute. Okay, so James, if you're in the chat, you could post a link to this or something, but I mean, it's probably like first on Amazon, something like that, like an ergonomic grip. So yeah, if it's orange and it's called Ergo or Plus Ergo or whatever, then it's probably the same one, and it I think was relatively cheap. It comes in this little thing. Whoop. Yeah. And so this is kind of a fun container in itself. It's like cardboard. I like it. Anyways, Studio Long says, my Illo friend Titania or Titania? Tatiana, I can read. I'm good. Was drawing him, so I jumped on and streamed him running around my house. That is so precious. Just like, hey, here's life reference. I love it. That's what the world needs. More streams of your dog running around. So good job. Oh my gosh, I'm dying for a dog. I want one so bad. I see dogs on my street running around all the time, and like James and I will yell to each other from the other room, be like, "There's a fluffy dog walking down the street," and then we'll just be like, "Oh, it's so cute." By the way, that was the chair. I'm not lying. Yeah, steering along, he was terrible reference. He just wanted to sit on me. No, what kind of dog is this? Because I'm imagining like Saint Bernard or something, like just wanting to sit on you. That's great though. Any reference is better than no reference, so I'm sure your friend was very, very grateful that you did that for her. I think I want to do like light reddish pants on here. I'll take off the sketch soon so that we can see the colors themselves. And then boots, maybe would it be too on the nose to make them yellow? We'll just see. We'll see what we like. Not too golden, but like yellow, yellow. Let's see. By the way, it's such a nice day today. I hope you guys realize that I am really sacrificing not actually being outside right now because holy crap, it's amazing. It was so nice taking a walk today. It just felt like like every breath was refreshing. We're just, oh my gosh, you have a wiener dog. I grew up with wiener dogs, little dachshunds. I love them so much. My mother has a dappled mini one right now, and he is just precious. He's literally never grown up. That's not his fault. My mom doesn't want to train him, but he is a perpetual puppy and just soaks up the love. Every single time I go and visit, it's just all pouring the love on. Little Rudy, he's so cute. You can have Sonpy, Snoopy. He's a terrible pet. Oh my gosh, you have two, and obviously you hate one of them, so yeah, I'll take them. That'd be great. As long as I don't have to pay for vet bills. That's our only concern right now. James and I have talked many a time about having a dog, and we both want him for sure. We're gonna get a corgi named Mochi in the future, but it's just the worry of like both of our careers are financially questionable, so we want to feel like we're really set before getting a dog. Well, also we want a yard, so our apartment literally is bursting at the seams right now. Literally, no. Uh, it's so small that like I had the opportunity to take in kittens when we first moved here, and we were like, we literally don't even have room for a litter box. Like that's how little this place is. And it broke my heart to not take them, but I do think in the long run it's more responsible to have the right home for the type of pet that you're getting. So that's my goal. It's just get to that place where I can have the room, where I can have the financial stability, and then lavish my dog or cat or all of the above in so many treats and so many pets, and I will work from home so they will never be wanting for attention. Basically living the dream, right? That's the goal, at least. I don't think it's unattainable. I think it's very attainable, and I am excited for it. Long says, "Oh no, he's real expensive. He's the reason I have still have a day job. Oh, he has heart failure. Oh, baby. I hope he feels okay." That really sucks, yeah. Like, I always talk to James because, okay, so James didn't grow up with pets. I did, like, at least three at a time. And so I'm having, like, hardcore withdrawals not having a pet in the house. And it's been, I mean, a while since I've been out of my parents' house, but still, it feels wrong to not have a pet. And James, I want him to. Okay, so his family did have pets, but like not one of his own. And I want him to have a really good first experience of having his own pet, where it's like his baby. So that kind of pressure to make sure that his first pet doesn't horrify him in some way, where it's like he has a really bad experience and never wants to have a pet again. Like that would just be so sad. So I need to make sure, or at least I want to make sure, that he has a really good time with it and feels like it's a laid back pet. So you'd think perfect solution, get an old pet where they're just super laid back, very relaxed. But the problem with that is older pets more often have health problems. I would be so willing to put in the time and like take care of them personally, but the vet bills would stack up quite quickly, as I know from my friends who have needy pets. So again, it's a little scary, but someday we're gonna have an old pet. I just hope that we're gonna be ready for it. But I just, fantasize about going to the Humane Society and picking up the oldest, most cuddly cat that they have. I remember volunteering at the cat adoption team in Tigard, I think it is, or Sherwood. And they had this one cat that had feline, or FIV, where it's like HIV, but for cats. And so he couldn't be around other cats. And so it was really hard to get an adoptive family for him because he would be the only one, which is kind of rare. Usually cat people have like five. But he would literally hug you. You take him out of his little enclosure and he would just put his paws up around your neck and he would drool on your shoulder like a puddle instantly. He had so much in him. And I just wanted to take that baby home so bad. He was adorable. I just, I miss the cat cuddles. But back then I had my own cat and I couldn't have an FIV cat. I was a cat person, and we had two other cats in the house, so it was a no go. But yeah, my next cat will have a lot to live up to. I had the best cat growing up, my little Vicious. He was named Vicious, but he was far from it. Absolutely the most cuddly animal you would ever meet. So James is always like, well, you trained it into him, so the next one we get, we can train it into them, right? Basically by cuddling the heck out of them when they're young. And yeah, that's how you get a cuddly cat. Long says, vet says he's fine for now. Oh, good. Lots of vet bills, though. He's 10 years plus. Oh, man. Yeah, it becomes a danger zone. My parents dachshund Rudy, he's got cataracts growing in his eyes, which is kind of like, it's not the worst thing for a dog because they basically are happy, whatever. Like, I would rather have that than some internal thing that's like killing him. But the thing is, he had these beautiful eyes where one of them was brown, one of them was blue, and they just looked like sparkling. And so having them go cataracty, it just all the color goes out and they become cloudy, and I was like, Rudy. But he's super cute and happy as ever, so he's fine. But I keep telling my mom, like, you gotta get another dog while he's here because I feel like it's just a better system to get overlapping animal, because not only can they, for some reason this isn't working, they can it's because it's not this layer. Okay, they can overlap and have like the older dog teach the younger one a little bit, and then hopefully it's not as heartbreaking when the older one passes. And I just know how she reacts to that, and I want her to have at least a little modicum of comfort when Rudy passes away. And I don't think that'll be for quite a while. He's very healthy. The only dachshund I've ever seen who doesn't overeat, which is like a miracle. But, no dog lives forever, and you want to have someone there to help you through the transition. The last time our previous dachshund, Oscar Meyer Wiener, Owen, when he passed away, I think it took her probably a year to be able to have another dog. And I know she's happier when she has a dog. Like, we have cats, but this is a different kind of companionship for sure. Especially when one of our cats is almost feral. Like, she loves coming in and cuddling, but she will just like spend 90% of her time outside, like hunting and scrounging around and like acting like a wild cat. And we're like, you have food, like you have everything you could possibly need. And she's like, I'm good, I'll take care of myself. So silly. I want a cat. Gosh, now you got me on a thing. I want animals around. I miss my mammals. Long says, yeah, they adapt well. Thank goodness. Unfortunately, both of mine are about the same age and both have heart failure. Oh my gosh. Can they share meds? Both of mine are skinny. Wow. Oh, rescues with bad genes. That sucks. But yeah, she really earns her food. And I have to say, like, now that I know more about owning pets, like, I mean, my mom would buy these books that I never read about, like, how to care for specific animals, but I never knew, like, everything that goes into raising animals and keeping them healthy. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like, dry food and, like, not training and all this, like there are just so many things that I didn't know were either bad or good and should have been done or should never have been done. I remember when we first got Rudy, I had that week off of school, and I spent that entire week trying to train him as fast as I could. And he would stay and come to my commands, but then, I was gone for a week to go to school again, and all that went away real quick because nobody was keeping up on it. So, my big thing with James and I, when we have our future dog Mochi, I am going to train that guy to be so good. I am going to make sure that he is fully aware of everything that I say. He's going to heel, he's going to come. If he ever is, for any reason, which I will never have this intentionally happen, if he's ever off leash, then I will be able to say stop or come, and he will immediately do it. That's what I need in my dog. I am not watching them get run over ever. So those kind of things are really important to me, and I look forward to spending my time doing that. I feel like it'll become a new hobby. Speaking of hobbies, I was wondering, what do you guys do for hobbies? Because I was just watching this channel that it was an offshoot of Bon Appetit. There's one of their guys who cooks over there. He went to this ceramics place to learn how to throw pottery, and it just reignited my passion for that. I've never done ceramics, but I love ceramics. I can already tell that I would just absolutely love doing it, and I want to do it real bad right now, and I just don't have the time, don't have the access at the moment, but I know that it's going to be a hobby of mine in the future. So it's one of those things that I'm really looking forward to my future time doing that someday, somehow. Oh, Long's thrown pottery since school. Oh man, got it all. Sorry, I'll read back. They share all 4 of their meds. Oh my gosh. Very generous with each other. That's lovely. Oh, I love that he already has an identity. Well, Mochi has been a dream for quite a while, so yes, he definitely has an identity. But, I'm always afraid of going for an animal that's just one breed. I would love for them to be mixed as much as possible, so maybe it'll be Mochi is looks like a corgi, but maybe has a little something else going on in his genes. That would be great. Remember to drink water, by the way. And drip it down yourself. That's good too. Hydrates the skin. Long says, lost my studio space when I moved last year though. So now I've gotten more into wood cutting. Oh, see, that's awesome too. It's still a tangible thing with your hands. And I've been doing a lot of sculpting lately with just Sculpey, doing little animals and stuff. And I was talking with oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her screen name. It's Kendall, but what's her screen name? Blah, blah, blah. Zona Fly. She was saying that she would love to see these guys painted on stream. So I was thinking about one of these days just going out, buying some of the supplies to actually paint them well, because I've been looking up how to paint them. All I have are water-based oil paints here, or watercolor, which I know wouldn't work. But the oils would take forever to dry, and I don't know if they're the right thing to use for it. They're pretty expensive, so I don't want to just be wasting expensive stuff when I could use cheap stuff. But yeah, I thought maybe we could paint them together. That would be a fun stream. And it would be a little bit of therapy for me, because I think those tangible kind of tactile, that's the word I'm thinking of, tactile things really do just cleanse your mind and make you feel better. And I have loved sculpting lately. It is just a joy. Alright, I'm going to start laying in some lines on top of this. I might go in and still change some color stuff, but at the mo, these are basically blocked out, and I'm happy with them right now. But we'll see what happens in the future. So for this area, I'm going to go a little bit darker of a green, keeping it cool. The darker I go, the cooler I go, but I don't want it to be too dark or too cool for this light, very warm green. So I think I'm lightening just a tad, warming it up just a tad. That feels good. And I can always change it in the future, lock the pixels and change it up. But I just want to start playing with it and get it going. Because, you just don't know what to edit until there's something on the paper. So it's important to me to just start getting stuff down. I love this little bow right here. For some reason, putting bows on things is literally like putting a bow on it. Like, it makes it feel like a wrapped present. Like, done. So, been a little bow happy. Just noticing all of my little patterns that I do in my drawings. Kind of goofy. What do I tend towards? I'm going to kind of hatch this in to give it the effect of being in shadow. And I think I'm going to use a different color of line to make these circles happen. So I'll just do a little dash mark along here. You can see it better when I turn this off. Actually, those are too close together to see. Here, I'm going to do it on the light. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. And some little overlappy wrinkles. I think I'm going to do some lines to mark that he's got his hand in his pocket too. I might do some kind of finishing along the edge here. Yeah, I think I need it. I do love the loop-de-loops, but do they feel like they belong? Yeah, I think this works better. Just little lines to kind of denote that there's some kind of seaming along the edge. Again, that's kind of like a finish quality type of thing. Makes it feel a little bit more done. By the way, I'm getting together the material for the character design class that I am teaching this summer at svs.learn. Wait, svslearn.com. There we go. I can talk. And this is part of it, but I'm super excited for the class itself. It is going to be so much fun. And I'm just excited for them to be excited about it. Like, they're going to start hyping the class and be like, get people to sign up and stuff like that. So I cannot wait to see who signs up and, like, all, you know, if there's demand or not. It's going to be really cool. I am excited. And we're going to add some, here's the pocket line, and then I'm going to do the same kind of, like, hatch marks in here. Now the question is, do I do the hatch marks along here? Let's just see. How do they look? And I'm trying to keep the spacing irregular. Yeah, I like that. Makes it feel like a well-worn coat. Long says, yeah, I like working with my hands. It's very important. Feels kind of therapeutic. I definitely recommend signing up for a pottery class, though. It's super zen once you get the hang of it. I want to really, really badly. I think that might be something I look into in the new year. What does that mean? The residency is ending, and for some reason that makes me think it's going to be an entirely new year. I should say after the residency is over. That would be a really good thing to look into. I'd watch you paint them. They're super cute. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I want to learn with you. Yeah. Well, this is part of it. This is character design, but this is definitely what I would do in the later stages of the class, is like paint all together. What I love about the class as opposed to the stream, because I feel like this is a really good way for us to just talk and discuss similar things to what we would in a class, but with this, it's less curated, you know what I mean? Like, once it's in class form, I feel like the thoughts are very succinct. It's very easy to like take notes and make sure that it all comes together in a way that makes sense. When I'm here, I'm just stream of conscious and definitely not thinking like, oh, how would this be taken from the other end, and how would it best be disseminated by the student's mind or whatever. Now I'm just like, do let's paint. But it's still fun to just paint with you guys and feel like there's someone to hang out with. I always say this, I think, like every stream, but you guys are my social gathering. You are my my connection to the world. I actually just got together with a few friends. I went back to the studio that I worked at before the residency and got to see people, and it was just like, blast from the past. Oh yeah, like instantly back into that, like, this is what life was. And now life is completely different, but it doesn't feel very far away because I literally live in a city right next to them, and it's like if I went in there any time of the day, I could just have the same experience I did a year ago, and like just know everybody. And they made it clear that like if I need, if I ever want to come back, I am welcome back. So that is lovely. But just knowing that like life is so dramatically different right now, and that I know I'm busy, but like I'm busy with everything I love. I'm so happy to be in this place right now. But it was wonderful to see them. I absolutely love them, and I need to get more social contact in, like really, really badly. I know that I have basically abandoned my friends in many ways, so I need to be a better friend and actually hang out with people. But sometimes life demands sacrifices, and at the Mo, I am sacrificing quite a bit for what I love. It's a worthwhile sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice nonetheless. Long says, yeah, I just did the backgrounds class and it was a ton of really good concentrated feedback. That is awesome. Oh my gosh. So that was with, what's his name? I know his name. All courses. I have the SBS page up right now. Oh, I was thinking of a different person. Sorry, I shouldn't spend time doing this. But yes, I've heard great things about the background class. I was thinking of Mark Pett, who did the studio interview, and that was a very interesting video. I just watched that. Yeah, Brian Har, I think his name is. I'm not sure how to. Ahar? I'm guessing. But I saw his interview with Will Terry before the class started, and he was wonderful and sounded like he would be an eloquent teacher. Ajar. Oh, like that door is ajar. That's awesome. Well, yeah, you're all over the SBS stuff then. Have you gone through Lee's class, How to Make Money in Illustration? Because that one was so hardcore, and I need to listen to it again and like follow along completely. Because I would do these, like, every once in a while I would follow along and then I would get distracted or something. But I really know that, like, that's important information. It's stuff that everybody needs to know. So for my benefit and the benefit of others, I need to just go through that class and fully pay attention to every single thing he says, because I know it's all gold. Oh, that's the wrong color. Or is it? I'm going to give this guy an eye that's the same color as his skin. Kind of unify that color palette a little bit. And I like mixing up what is like painted with the bristle bomb brush and what's drawn in with this pencil-y brush. It's fun. It creates a unification of the two in my mind. One of the challenges with the darker skin tone, though, is making sure that everything reads as clearly on the face as it does on the clothing. And right now I think it is a little bit too dark, so I'm going to go full black with his facial features and see if that remedies it. Because one of my things, I know this from many critiques, is that I am very afraid to go full black. And that's from years of training of just not going full black. So I'm trying to train myself out of that and just use it when it's appropriate. There we go. You can see the full black against his hair color. It's just barely reading. I could go lighter than the hair for the lines. It's way too much contrast. But we will just see what we like. I think that's reading better against his skin tone. What I don't want to do is lighten his skin tone too much, because I want him to be black. And so being lighter than he needs to be is kind of defeating that purpose. Although, I mean, I know there's all different kinds of tones of skin. But still, I want him to be dark. And I should be able to make that work. Adding some texture to his hair. And a little bit of movement by having these like offset lines that come off the hair form. Fun. I like that. Might define his nose shape a little bit more, make it a little more sharp. Long, not yet. You were talking about it last time, and I want to take it, but I need to set aside a chunk of time. I highly recommend that, yeah. There's some stuff on there, like the critiques, you can turn on in the background, but I like to sit down and take notes from the classes. Totally. Yeah, I just went, or listened to my first critique, and that was wonderful. Just a wonderful exercise in, like, giving and taking critique. I feel like, how they break it down, I was wondering, like, okay, so if you have a student where you think there is a lot that could be improved about this work, obviously there are things that are working, but there's also a lot to go through. How do you break down what to go through so that it's not overwhelming to be like, oh, you need to change everything? It's not that. It's that there are small tips that will help you for everything. And the way they break it down is usually from biggest to smallest. So they go like composition, like physically it is the biggest thing in the piece. Start there, and then you go down to values, that is an overall thing, and then you go to colors, and then you go to design, characters, and stuff like that. Like, you kind of just work your way in from the biggest issue to the smallest issue, and that really helped me just in a teacher mindset, like how to disseminate that information. I've had to do that multiple times with people, but like it's always good to have just reinforce that kind of stuff, especially right before a class. I feel like I need to get good, in those areas, be on top of my game for the students' benefit. Because I know I have good information in my head, but being able to share that information is not just a given. It's not like, oh yeah, everybody's a good teacher. You have to get good. It's just like learning anything else. Long says, I don't like black either. I know the contrast is supposed to be your friend, but I like it a little more subtle. I totally agree. I love subtle pastel-y and like, subtle nuances in tone and color, and sometimes you have to let go of that. It's fine. Yeah, just picking a few major things that will make the most difference. Exactly. I always think that composition and values are like the overarching things that can change work so dramatically. But I'm finding recently I've been having issues with values the most in my own work, and that's kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, I want to be good at this by now, but then it's like, you're always going to be working on something in your work, so value's a good one, just get better at it. And so I'm taking that challenge, and I'm going to definitely work on my values and try to improve that skill. I know that sometimes it's just easier to nail than others, so I'm not like beating myself up about it and saying I suck at this and it's the worst. It's more like be aware so that in your next piece you don't fall into this area of just being like, it's okay, it's not the best. It's like, no, you should be really proud of it and be like, this is the best I could make right now. Yeah, for me it's painting, Studio Long says. Totally. Painting, I feel, is one of those things that you literally just have to do over and over and over again, and practice is the best teacher for a lot of it. I know that there are like tips and tricks and techniques that you can do, but there's nothing like having a deadline to push you. I was just talking to James about this. I was like, our last job, I'm really grateful because I came out of college and I barely ever painted in full color, and then I went to that job and instantly was expected to, at the end of the day, have this done. I'm like, okay, I have no excuses. I have to use all of my time to be the best artist I can be in this moment. And that's literally how you make leaps and bounds in your work. If you just say yes to a challenge and do your best at it, that's like the best thing you can do for practicing on your own. It's revolutionary. What was the thing I was gonna do with this? I had an idea of what I was going to do for a second, and then I just lost it. But I know I'm going to sharpen his nose up a bit. The face details can be a little bit sharper than the rest, just because that's the focal point. His boots are getting a little fluorescent compared to the rest of him. So I'm gonna tone those down just a tiny bit. And actually I might try a different color on them, just to see if I like it. This makes it feel more rainy day. I think the darker colors also ground him a bit more. Just a bit. Because with the yellow... Here, I should do another layer so we can compare. With the yellow, it feels a little bit like he's floaty, and the contrast of the lightness to his dark face makes it just pull the attention a little bit too much. So I might go even darker with that. Maybe we could do some color blocking like that. Ooh, that's fun. That's cute. I like that. And now I'm going to throw a little bit of a color balance layer just to see if I can unify these a little bit more. And basically my method for this is just going too far to either side and focusing in on the middle where I like it best. Make sure his face doesn't go too dark still. It's still fighting with the black of the line, so I might have to lighten his skin tone just a tiny bit, but definitely not too much that he is not black anymore. Just a tiny bit. There we go. Yeah, I think that makes the black line read a little bit better on his face. Long says, I struggle a lot with bringing a sketch to a finish. Might just be from lack of experience and that I didn't actually go to school for illustration. Yeah, that too. And yeah, you like the darker boots. Awesome. Yeah, bringing a sketch to a finish is probably one of the biggest things that, you know, can like elude your grasp if you're not working in an industry that demands it of you. Like setting those definitive deadlines is a really big tool to getting there. But that is not to say that it's like an easy or fast thing at all. It's just one of those, one more thing to work on, you know? I actually like his jacket just a tad bit cooler than this, so I'm gonna hop back in here. There we go. I still like that original jacket color better, but I like the pants color better on here, so maybe I'll just collapse this with this layer. Boom. Alright, so he's looking okay. I definitely will make tweaks along the way to all of them, but at the moment, he's fine. So I'm going to move on to the other characters so that we can get more of a general scope of like color and tone, and then we can unify them all together. Let's go to the little Asian girl, which she looks a little bit skewed, but we can always fix that in the paint. So we're going to start with, once again, a base color. Let's see. What do you imagine for her? For some reason, the sweater I imagine is pink, and then maybe like a plaid skirt. But maybe the pink is a little bit more like salmon. Salmon, clearly salmon. Long says, I love her glasses. Thank you. Yeah, I love her glasses too. That was one of those things where, actually, I should show you. There's a little bit of a gear up to these characters. So, started way down here. Let's see. So I went through the stages of the class, basically, and worked on making these characters a little bit closer to what I wanted. Then landed on these guys and felt like, okay, these are pretty solid. Let's do some like variations of them. So this girl went through different iterations of glasses and hairstyles and clothing and just basic like attributes, until we landed on her final design, which is here, not here. Here, but not here. This one I liked best for several reasons, but I think we still might tweak her design just a little bit as we go. But yeah, she's generally like a really tall and then a big bulbous head on top. Tall triangle, round head. And those round glasses just emphasize that round. Which I just bought new glasses last week, and I should be getting them in here any day now, which I am super excited about. because I haven't had new glasses in about 10 years. This isn't her skin tone. I'm just throwing like an orange back there just to, I shouldn't do it so heavy-handedly. Get a little bit of that depth and holes in the painting so that I can show through. Sorry, I'm loosely talking about the technique that I did at the very beginning of the stream. Blah, blah, blah. And we're just loosely coloring in. Getting real messy. Overlapping strokes. Alright, now we can duplicate, and since I was thinking overall pinkish, there goes a loud car. If anything's too loud, just let me know and I can always close the windows. I'm gonna fill her in. Boom. Then we can go back in here, select that orange, and paint it out where these are holes. Boom. Oh, Long, you've never had glasses? Just admire them from afar. Someday when your, vision gets damaged like ours, you'll get to enjoy it. The card isn't too loud in the mic. Excellent. I don't mind. Enjoy your fresh air. Thank you. Yeah, today was ridiculously warm. It's awesome. We went on a walk. I think I already mentioned this. It was choice. It was amazing. I just want to be on a walk right now. Although for some reason it looks like there's a haze of cloud kind of coming through, but it's so warm I don't care. It's wonderful. I've just been dying for this weather. So we're gonna go with a light yellowish skin tone for her. Not too light, but we'll see what looks good. Do 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 do. I actually should put it on its separate layer. Clip it. Boom. So cute. And again, she's going to have really dark hair, so we're going to go into that dark territory and make sure that it reads. Let's do... Her hair is like this... I think I want blue undertones. Like really dark, but if you look closely, it's blue kind of feel. Oops, not clipped. Come on, Windows button. You don't need to be like that. We can clean everything up when we get to it. I'm just loosely laying in everything so that we know where it is and we can always revisit. Let's do like a periwinkle skirt right now. And then her leggings and shoes. What do we want? Just gonna throw in a dark blue because it's easy. And then I want her to have light shoes in the end, but we can, here, let's just throw in like a cream. Or like a light pink. No, let's do cream. Again, I'm going for light shoes. What am I thinking? We'll figure it out as we go. Alright, right away, I'm not digging the orange behind anymore. I think I'm just gonna have that weak fallback and just go gold again, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll change my ways. No, it's too close to her skin tone. So, let's go hot pink. That's interesting. I kind of like it. But we can always throw a hue saturation layer on there to mess with it. See what really looks good. Oh yeah. Very interesting. Throwing that back there, like when it comes through the skin tone and the sweater and everything, just changes so much about the color mood. It's very interesting. It doesn't have to be this saturated. It can be a little calmed down, but I like it being a little overblown just because it's only going to show through in parts. It's not going to be this heavy-handed in the end. Oh, oops, that's saturation. do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm kind of into this like really light teal. Let's just go for it for now. And we'll see where we end up. It's fine. It'll work eventually. We're hoping. No, eventually it'll be fine. It's just everything should be an experiment until it's final. So let's just try it out. It's fine. And I'm gonna give her some light blue glasses. Cute. Also love the bursts of like red that show up in certain areas. Might start making that part of the repertoire as well. Oh yeah, and she has the little baubles in her hair. Those can be red too. Do you guys remember those things? The like bead things on a hair bun, like stretchy whatever, and your she was a ginger for a hot sec. Yeah, she was. But your mom would put them into your hair, and then those two like ball things would lock onto each other, like they'd be on either end of this. And I remember every single time I took them out of my hair, it would just rip a bunch of it out. The best. You know how you love it when you're a kid, just ripping out your hair. It's totally fine. I feel like there were many instances in my childhood where my hair just got ripped out of my head. I didn't do those, but I did a lot of those little butterfly clips. Ugh, that's like the cool kid had the butterfly clips. I never got any. My older sister had some, I think, but I never had the butterfly clips. And then now, of course, our entire generation is like, remember the butterfly clips? They were so cool. And I was like, I wasn't cool enough for them. I'm sorry. Love the look of them now. Definitely brings me back to like Lizzie McGuire days. Kimstra. I didn't realize that's how you're supposed to use the ball hair ties. I lost a lot of hair doing it wrong. Yeah, it was a real fun time just figuring those out. That's what life's about, you know? Tearing out your hair and being a 90s kid. That's infected by the color underneath. I can tell she's already going to be harder than the boy. Why? Oh, it's because of this layer. Little too loosely colored in. There we go. Long says, my hair was a tiny bit too short for a ponytail. Cute. I love the like short little girl hair. My sister had basically a bowl cut for a long time. Of course, my parents had me grow my hair out for like ever. I looked a lot more like I have a little bit of Native American in my family, and I looked straight up like a Native American child when I was a kid. I had much bigger eyebrows, and I was darker all over. They said I had an olive skin tone. Now I am just pale, like completely pale. I do tan nicely, but like, when do I get to tan? But the thing of it was like, I always wanted to cut my hair. I literally stole scissors and hid in the closet one day and started like cutting up my own hair. everybody else was like, no, it's long and beautiful and always leave it. I think the first time I like did a major cut was like late high school when I went shoulder length, and it was just because it was all damaged because I went through a dyeing phase and all that stuff. But dang, like I can't believe how little I've cut my hair over my life. And now James is like, grow it out long, it's so pretty. So, hey, I'm back into the mode of growing it out. And I honestly don't have a problem. I love having long hair. It's just, I expect people to play with their hair, especially when they're kids, to like go through phases and stuff. I never went through the hair cutting phase. I guess I did when I was in that closet, but it was real quickly over. I was in the haircutting closet. I now I understand how scary it would be to see a kid with scissors in the closet being like, "What are you doing?" But I just wanted to chop it all off for a sec. Oh, and then I remember, I think it was middle school. My mom brought me to this hair salon that was very fancy, and it was her favorite hairstylist that she still loves, and I still love. Her name's Mimi, and she's awesome. But she brought me there, and there was this hairstylist who walked by, and she had short blonde bleached hair, and I was like, I want that. Like, I am definitely getting that hair when I grow up. When I'm old enough to make my own decisions, I'm getting that hair. And of course it never happened, but it was just so funny that like that for some reason stuck in my head as like the hairstyle that I wanted. Probably because it was just so dramatically different from what I had. But my sister definitely expressed herself through her hair a lot. She had first blue hair, like bright blue hair, completely blue. And then I think that was like middle school or early high school for her. And from there, it just went crazier and crazier. Like she had dreadlocks for a while, and then she bleached them. They looked awesome, honestly. She like pulled it off. And now she just goes straight black, like black and straight hair, which naturally she has like light brown curly hair. So it's pretty goofy, but it's what happens, you know. I'm off the dyeing train because my hair is just so fine that it doesn't need damage to be thin. It's funny because my mom has the same fine hair, and she's like, I damage it intentionally by dyeing it because she wants more volume to it, you know. I'm just fine with having heavy limp hair, you know. It's gonna be flat to my head. I'm not gonna have a ton of volume, but it is what it is. You kind of just embrace your hair after a while, usually. Oh man, you guys are talking. It's because raincoats are your comfort zone. Yeah. Long says, me too, but I'm a ginger, so you can't tell. Yeah, I understand. My dad looks a lot, and one time, likes it a lot. And one time my soccer coach called the cops on him picking me up from soccer practice because he couldn't believe we were related. Oh, he looks a lot like it. Okay, gotcha. Thought I was being kidnapped. Oh my gosh. That's so sad. Like, you're clearly not related. You must be kidnapping her. This is on your permanent record, by the way. Jeez. It's a lot of assumptions. Some people look nothing like their parents. My parents are both way more beautiful than me, so I don't know how I came out of that. But all my siblings are also light-haired and have blue eyes. Not me. Mom, what's going on? That's actually why my sister convinced me that I was adopted when we were kids. But, you know, I let bygones be bygones. But it was definitely like a off-putting thing at first, and then my mom showed me like, okay, this is your aunt, this is your grandma, and I look like almost exactly like them. So it just, certain things are dominant traits, recessive genes, whatever, and so I don't look directly like my family, but hey, I'm happy being me, so it's all good. And sometimes I can see it, like in my extended family, I'll see a cousin and I'm like, you look kind of like me. What a revelation. Relation? What? But my cousins, oh, I always loved how you could see them from a mile away and know they were family. Like, they all had almost the exact same face. And so you're just like, what? You're one of their clan, aren't you? So, yep. Definitely are. My dad's family is like that, too. I didn't meet them for a long time, like a long period in my life. And then once we finally had a family get together with that side, it was like, oh yeah, this is the clan. Like they all look exactly the same. They're so similar. It's crazy. For some reason I feel like I'm not okay. I'm getting a little bit. I felt like the pressure sensitivity was off or something. Anyways, just being finicky with my brushes. They have to be just so. Alright, I'm gonna start making headway on this and talking a little less. But I'll still read you. um, yeah, the hair cutting in the closet was cute. If you ever had a kid who was doing that, you'd probably freak out. That's so cool. I've never done anything too crazy with mine. It would be impossible to get it back to red without looking terrible. I totally empathize with other hair types and colors. They're pluses and minuses to everything, I swear. And you always want what you can't have, right? Like I just needed to have that short blonde hair that I was never gonna have naturally. Oh no, I'm the odd duck out of my family too. Only Ginger. Oh, that makes you stick out because Ginger is also like really rare in itself too, but super cool. I love red hair. Actually, most of the hair dyeing that I did in high school was to get to red because I absolutely love red hair. But mine was more of like an auburn deep red. I never did the full bleach to like strawberry blonde or whatever. I would love to do that, but like I should just wear a wig. I don't know if it would look good on me, you know? Like I have a very specific face and complexion that like I don't know if it would look good with all hair colors, but I guess high school was my time to experiment with it and I didn't experiment all that much. I just went for red. That's fine though. I'm happy with where I'm at. I didn't even have extended family with red hair till my cousin was born. Dang. Okay, so one of my teachers is of Asian descent, and she like a very specific like kind of Asian Hmong culture, I believe they're called, and or Hmong, I'm not sure. Sorry, sorry, Zal, but she was talking about how I think it was someone in her family had red hair and like an Asian with red hair was like super rare, but it happens and I had no idea about that and I'm just like I want to know about all the rare genes in these different parts of the world and it led me to Mexican people who are born albino or something. No, blonde. Was it that? I can't remember. Um, but it's just fascinating to find out like these colorations that you would not expect from certain races and they're totally like yeah like you could be any color coming out of any race like it's kind of amazing. Same thing with mixed races, like it goes the full gamut. You never know what kind of like look is going to come out of that and that's the coolest, especially from a character design perspective. You're just like I like you're just anything. Like you could look at like anything and it's all beautiful and wonderful. I love it so much. It makes me really excited to do character design, honestly. It's just like there's so much possibility for variation and just differences. It's so cool. I had a big conversation with my residency manager about that because the kids in my book that I'm doing are Hispanic, well, of Hispanic descent, but they are born and raised in America. So we were talking about like how much like race decides like how much you include in a book. Basically, you don't want to make it feel like you're jamming different races down the reader's throat where you're like diversity just for the sake of diversity. But I'm not telling a story about cultural heritage, so do I include cultural like you know symbols or like images to give the reader a cue like hey, this is the background of the character. But if it doesn't matter to the story, do I add it? Like, so we settled on adding a little bit, but only where it's appropriate. So if you see pictures in the background of his home, maybe you see a little bit more of the culture because the older generations have that culture more readily in their memory. And so it's like that was kind of the compromise. But I'm always like really open to hearing other people's take on that because obviously I was born and raised American. I'm a white girl, so like I don't have a ton of experience with diversity, but like I want to represent it as much as possible because I don't want to tell the same stories over and over again. And I want kids to see themselves in my work. Like that's the dream of every children's book illustrator and author. So it's very important to reach other demographics of people. And also just the world has more to tell. You know, if you're cutting out all the diversity in the world, you're really selling yourself short. It's definitely worth it to embrace diversity. Long says, yeah, you want kids to be able to relate, but they aren't dumb. They know when you're forcing it. Absolutely. That's a big thing in children's books right now, as well as just making it feel authentic because there's an easy way to be like, here's the moral of the story. They literally used to end children's books in moral of the story, you know, like quotations or whatever, and then say like what the moral was. Like that is the definition of forcing it. And like totally nothing against that, but it's definitely not the studio or the industry standard anymore. Like people do not want to come off as if they're telling kids this is what you're supposed to do. Please learn from my life. Stuff like that. Even though everybody feels that way. Like they want to pass on knowledge, but not in a way that makes it like you're talking down at all. Don't want to feel like you are preaching to a kid. They're not going to listen. And they're definitely not going to feel like they can relate to your characters. Like your story should do the heavy lifting. You shouldn't have to be like, here's the point of why I was saying that. For some reason this pencil doesn't feel like it's quite doing what I want it to do at the moment. But oh well. But do you guys feel like this character is coming across as Asian? I'm really hoping. She's super cute and I love her. I just want her to, you know, hit the goal that I'm going for. That was the chair again, not me. Although Anthony would have you say it differently. Or think differently, whatever you call it. What did we do for this guy? He doesn't have an open mouth. I feel like he's just so much looser than she is. Gonna throw a hue saturation on here. She's unclipped for a mo, but don't worry about that. I think I want her hair just to be warmer. Oh, that's interesting. Like a gray kind of thing. Like gray-brown. Kind of dark, but not overwhelmingly dark. Yeah, I think I like that I like that better. There she's ginger and has a very definitive hairline. Now she's her. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I found this site where there were some vintage children's books. All the morals of the story were listen to your parents or terrible things will happen. Surprise, surprise. Who's buying these books again? Huh, it's like brainwashing. It was a little cringy. And you guys think she looks Asian? Yay! You got the hair texture down. They have the most beautiful, shiny, sleek hair. Yes, absolutely. I love Asian hair. It's also usually like really healthy on the whole. Of course, individuals can dye it all to heck, but it's beautiful. Here we go. I'm going to fill in a little bit more of the hair. Not completely, just a little bit more to make it feel like the true color that I'm going for. Thank you guys for joining me today, by the way. This is really nice to have people to talk to again. Been streaming kind of inconsistently lately, and it's just because too much has gotten in the way. Like there's just a bundle of work to do to get this class up and running, and then of course the residency year is ending soon, so there's stuff to do for that. But there is a definitive date now for like our end presentations for the end of the residency, which I'm very happy about because I can't stand the idea of just like not knowing when we're ending quite. Not that like I knew what the last week was, but I didn't know what the last get together was. Now I know it's going to be in New York in May, so I am very excited about that. Going back to the Big Apple. And I hopefully will get to meet with people again and like maybe go on a tour of some place. Like if I could get to my agency or a publishing house or something like that and get a tour, I would be so over the moon happy. But yeah, that's the plan right now. And I think all the residents and like we're all gonna get together and show people at Adobe like, here's what I did over this year, kind of thing. At least that's the idea. And then we get to meet the new cohorts, which is the new year of residents. Oh my gosh, so excited about that. Just thinking back to what it was like last year when this happened, like it's insane how much has changed. Which, by the way, I'm working on a video to fill people in about what the year was like and where the book is and everything. So look forward to that. Long says, no problem. I love hanging out with other artists on Twitch. Aww. Not a lot of artists to talk to in Central Illinois. Yeah. And excited / sad. Excited for sure. Sad in a way, not overwhelmingly sad. Like I do think that it is almost too intense for more than a year, just because we put our heart and soul into this. Like there is no break when you're working on something that's such a gift. So I'm looking forward to vacation very much. That is not to say that like it was too much. I'm just saying like if it were 2 years, I might die. Like that would be a lot. It would be wonderful. That'd be a lot. And I'm also just so grateful to see a new crop of people come in. One of my biggest things this year is just feeling like the camaraderie with everyone who has applied. It felt like that's the community. Like that is exactly where I want to be, is among the people who are applying for this residency. And I think that them having the opportunity to become part of it made me so overwhelmingly happy that like it kind of solidifies that like I want to be a part of this residency forever. I want to see new people coming in every single year and like making an impact on the world with their work. It sounds pretty cheesy, but it's really, really important to me that this residency continues and that it is like valued. People need to know how freaking awesome it is. That is to say, I am feeling a lot of emotions, and I'll probably definitely cry at the end of the year residency ceremony, whatever we do. It'll be great though. I look forward to seeing the other residents like nobody's business. I just wish we all could live closer and talk to each other constantly. They're wonderful people. Okay, what am I gonna do now? I want this to be a little less opaque. Cute. I'm still not loving her colors. Like I love parts of it, but I think like her bottom half right here is kind of bugging me. So let's just throw a quick HueSat layer over it and just adjust the heck out of it. I kind of like green down there. Is that weird? I know it's like almost complementary colors, but I mean it's pretty much complementary colors. Silly. Long, lol, that's valid. Thank you. I need validation for all these emotions. Yeah, you can't expect anything else. It's just kind of, it is what it is. And I'm sure after it's over, I will feel a whole nother batch of emotions. Let's see. Now I'm kind of feeling like her hair maybe should be purpley, just to kind of reflect the purpliness of the bottom area, like the feet and the legs. I love doing stuff like that where it just kind of mirrors the coloring a little bit and unifies it. Yeah, love that. Okay. And I'm digging more and more the like aqua behind her just when it like peeks out a little bit. I don't want too much of it, but just a little peek. And we can finish up some of her lines and then call this one good and hop onto the third character. And then we can see all three of them together and start unifying the colors and design. I definitely want to add a pattern to her skirt and a little bit of lininess to her hair. Let's do light lines and see how that looks. And again, the line layer that I'm working on, I can always just lock the pixels and no problem edit the colors of them, the lines. So these aren't necessarily my final line colors. I'm just throwing them in here so that I can edit them later. Now she kind of looks like she has gray hair, but again, we can change that. Are you guys working on stuff right now? By the way, still need to set up a Discord so we can share work between each other. I would love to see what you guys are working on too. Gonna give her like a little hairband here. I want it to be a little bit more open line. Boop. Long just finished a piece, now working on taxes. Yay! Hey, if you get tax returns, then actually yay. But working on them, I know, is not the most fun. I just sent in taxes to my tax people because I am way past being patient enough to do my own taxes. I've had some bad experiences in the past, so I'm just like, hey, can you handle it? Great, cool. I'll pay you all the money. Just no to me. Open mouths, man. What are they about? Kim is working on your iPad doing an illustration. Whoop whoop. Is that in Procreate, I'm guessing? Probably. Seems to be the most popular program at the Mo. Until Gemini comes out. What? And I'm using my pencil brush to do her fingers just because she has tiny, tiny hands, so I want to get really precise in there. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave that red line. I'm just kind of defining the finger. Here, let's pull back on this a little bit. And then I'm going to use the line layer to throw in a little bit of definition on here. Just gonna have multiple fingers, surprise, surprise. And one way, if you're doing like a mostly value or paint-based style where you're like trying to keep lines minimal like this, sometimes just lining one side of the finger can make it feel like it's defined but not making it overly lined, where you're like outlining every little bit, you know. Little thing I picked up. I also want her to have a little bit more definition between her neck and her head. That might be enough. It's all about testing. See how far is too far. Kim says, yeah, Procreate is definitely the most user-friendly right now, for sure. Long says, best friend Anthony was actually challenged me to animate it via Instagram. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just animate it, no problem. It's fine. Totally something Anthony would say. He's always one to push for further, which is admirable. Alright, let's throw a pattern on here. I'm gonna go for, let's see. That could work. I'm gonna throw on some like plaid-ishness, which is basically like a bunch of lines of varying spacing, and then across. Actually, I'm gonna do a different color across. I want it darker, more red. Ooh, variation. There. Maybe I'll do some more orange on top just to mess with it a little bit. Have varying overlap. What if... no, that doesn't work. I'm just playing with stuff right now. Stuff I haven't done before. Not my fave. Alright, yeah, that's good enough for now. And probably like tighten up her legs a little bit, shape-wise. Just to make sure the shape reads and it's not completely blobby. Sometimes I like the blob, sometimes I like the opposite of blob. That rhymes with blob. What would that be? The sob. The slob. Sometimes the blob becomes the slob. There we go. Something about that. Okay. IDK, how so many, so maybe I'll stumble into that this weekend. Oh, animation. Yes, do it. Do it. Gotta draw some balloon-loving robots first, though. Clearly. I mean, why haven't you done that before? I really like these little splashes of color peeking through her hair. Yes, I like that too, but I think I'm actually going to do a few lines in there just to make sure it's not too big of a splash. But I definitely like the color being in there just a little bit. I also think her face might need a little bit more see-throughiness at very particular parts. So what I'm going to do is go in with the eraser and just do kind of a big swath, and then go in with the bristle balm brush using our background color and just kind of whoosh it in a little bit and super subtly keep a little bit of that mint coming through in places that it's not gonna be too distracting, where it's like, oh, why is that in the middle of her eye? Maybe a little bit of the hair too. This is why I love having like an undercolor layer where all of your colors are clipped to it. So if you manipulate that, it comes through any of the colors and you don't lose any of the painting information of like the edges that you've created. It's wonderful. I'm also going to go over this one with a soft light layer of multiple colors, but that's going to be like one of the ending things. So we're going to first color our third character, which I don't know if you guys have seen. Well, Long, you've been here forever, so you've seen all of the sketches and stuff like that, but if you're just joining or watching on YouTube after the fact, then there are multiple sketches, there are multiple characters that I'm working on right now, and they're all going to fit together. So she took a bit longer than he did. He's also looking, I think, a little less saturated than her, so we might figure that out afterward. And then our third character is her. And I am imagining that you're going to be a hot pink in the background. And then your main coloring is probably going to be like a beautiful baby blue. And then your hair is going to be like this dark brown, rich color. I'm imagining she's a Hispanic heritage, so she's going to have like a lot of caramel kind of colors going on, which I've heard is annoying to people of color when their foundations are always colors of food. It's an interesting thing because like I never think about the names of foundation, but I'm definitely not like a makeup expert. But yeah, that's a thing apparently. And then her legs, let's see. I want her socks maybe to be like that classic white with a red stripe maybe. And then she's got purpley black tights maybe. So her backsplash color is going to be like hot pink. There we go. And once again, just going in super loosely. And knowing that I can change anything I don't like later, so not taking it too seriously, just going in and coloring and coloring. Leg, foot, leg, foot. Is that too much? Is that too little? I don't know. Boop. There we go. Ah, beautiful, done. She's pink. I'm happy. Okay, then let's duplicate. And let's throw that baby blue on that I have in my head. It's gonna be kind of like that. Boop. Ah, I love it already. It's kind of a purpley bleeding through. And then we're gonna take the pink and we're just gonna color in a bit. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I love her shape because it's very confined, where it feels like it's just one kind of chunk. So she's really easy to paint in. The other guys were a bit like longer. Boom. I might lighten the pink just a tad, like just there. Boom. I just lightened the opacity and now I'm gonna make it fully opaque again, lock the pixels, and just fill with the color that I selected. Easy peasy. Now we're gonna start clipping. So let's get that non-caramel but caramel colored skin tone going. What would, I don't know, a good call for it be that's non-food related? I can understand not wanting to be food related. That makes it feel like you're a little bit, you know, it's like calling somebody exotic or something. It's like, well, I am a person. Don't make me into something like weird, please. Alright, so I think her sweater is going to be that baby blue, and then we'll have a shirt underneath it that's like the collar and these little cuffs. I think she would go for, you know, one of my favorite color combinations when I was a kid was yellow and blue. I painted my entire room with, there were 3 blue walls and 1 yellow wall, and then on every blue wall we would take the yellow paint and splatter it across the wall so it looks like just paint splatters everywhere, and then on the yellow wall we did blue paint splatters, so it was just, this is an artistic kids room, yay. It was great. I loved painting that room so much. It was good. I've seen things. Long said things. Lol, better than my foundation, literally called pale. I love it. Terracotta is a good call. I think that's like an actual reference to something in the world, so you get what the color is, but it's not offensive in any way, at least I hope not. But yeah, that pale. That's a great color. I haven't looked at my color. I don't know what it's called, but I feel like nobody's color stays their color. At least for me, my skin tone changes a lot. Like I told you guys, I tan really easily, and if I were on a beach for like 2 days, then I would be a different color, I'm sure. Which, by the way, guys, I am planning a vacation to Hawaii very soon. I'm so excited. I want to go right now. But yeah, that's for the year end of the residency thing. Like, I just needed a vacation real bad, so I'm making it happen. So excited. Mine doesn't. Always pale. Gingers don't tan. Well, apparently your entire family can, just not you. I'm so sorry. That's a rough thing to, you know, just burn when you're out in the sun, but I understand vicariously. James is definitely a burner. He that pale boy. When he was a kid, he was literally platinum blonde naturally, so, you know, one of those. I'm like, nope, can't relate. Definitely not a pale kid. Gonna color in her hair, it's gonna be beautiful, yeah! Oh yeah! Boom. Ooh, and then I can have a call out of yellow in her hair with the little butterfly. Check it out. I have a butterfly clip in her hair. I'm living vicariously through my characters. By the way, earlier we were Zona, Zona, you're here. How are you here? Are you just like skipping work, or am I on the loudspeaker there? But no, I'm super excited about this hair clip actually. Just realizing that it was a butterfly, I'm like, this is me as a kid. People always used to mistake me for someone who was Hispanic, and I'm just like, nope, not. But like, I'll take the compliment because like I want to be tan and I want to be this beautiful color, but it's definitely not because of my genes. Oh man, you're allergic to sunscreens too? I'm so sorry, Long. That just sounds horrible. Like big floppy hats, I guess, maybe? So I was like, hi. Welcome. So wonderful to have you. Oh my gosh, Zona sneaking in while riding on the bus. We'll attempt to pay attention while not getting car sick. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's move with the traffic to make you not car sick. Oh, wow, those beautiful sights outside. Oh, that's amazing. Look at that building. Oh, nice. Wait, was that dog really cute? I think it was. Oh man, bus streaming is risky business. I imagine it would eat your data up a lot, but we appreciate having you for sure. It's wonderful to have you back, and I feel so guilty to not like be streaming at the right times for you. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things that like I'm trying to find time in the day, and it's a weird thing. Like I don't know. Lately, at least, I feel like I just don't have the ability to work on one thing solidly enough to make it worth streaming, if you know what I mean. Like, it's only bits and pieces every once in a while of like something I need to get done now and then send, and then it's gonna be on to the next thing, you know? So it's most likely most likely not art related, which is always frustrating. It's like I just want to create art. Why do I have to answer so many emails? But you know, can't complain while I'm complaining. Okay. Oh man. Long says bus streaming is risky business. Zona says same here. I'm half Japanese, but they always think I'm Hispanic. Lol. Yep. Mixed race always gets that like just wait, what are you? And then they ask like, so where are you from? I'm like here, but you know, um, I don't know. I was never treated differently because of it in any way. It was just a happenstance of being a really tan kid. I also was outside a lot more than I am now. Like, I miss the days when I was just running around barefoot. It was awesome. Long says, I'm in a college town. Buses have Wi Fi. Oh, sweet. That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Zena said, that'd be a good story. How are the talk ideas coming? Zona says, not your fault. It's a weird commute time for the Mountain Standard Time. Must move to a coast. A coast, just one of them. I would highly recommend the West. I like it quite a lot. It's wonderful in every way, basically. But yeah, if you're thinking about moving, just always like just err on the side of do it. That's what I've always heard from people. Like, okay, this is coming from somebody who's like literally never moved, but I can tell you with confidence that those who I know have moved are always so happy with their decision. They're just like, should have done it a million years ago. It's the best thing. And like, you know, what was it? Chelsea Burton, who was one of the residents last year, was like stuck in a place where she wasn't getting much work and didn't feel like she had an artist community as much. She moved without a job and instantly was just so much more at home and found work and was just like happy. And it's just because she found her place. And so location, 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 you know, can really change everything. Doop doop. Okay. I'm sure people just tuning in are like, what is this? That what? She's a character. I'm painting her. I'm probably gonna add some kind of pattern to her sweater and then have her skirt plain. I'm gonna clean up these shapes a little bit. Sound effects of the painting. This adds more excitement to it. Oh yeah. All the energy is in the sounds. Watch out. I am painting characters. I am painting characters. The most beautiful voice ever. Oh my gosh, you guys. Whoa, okay. Zona says, they're coming along, got some ideas. Excellent. Ooh, it's gonna be great. I want to try the West Coast since I already did the East, but East doesn't need a car. Oh, nice. And I got any speaking tips. I have a presentation talk next week. Oh, Studio Long has one. Sing your speech. Boom. Actually, that might be like a really good way to figure out the cadence of it. But I would definitely practice out loud as much as possible because you just get more comfortable saying the actual words by doing that. If you're not used to speaking in front of people and want to get more comfortable with that, I don't have good advice. I think doing it gets you more comfortable. So know that you'll come out of this feeling more confident for the next time. Is that horrible? But honestly, like I didn't have any way of getting used to it. I just jumped into it. So it's kind of like get used to it. You're on stage now, and I'm just okay. Hi. I guess be genuine to yourself. You don't have to be perfectly precise or like always so proper where you're like, okay, I have eloquence and my elocution is perfect. If you mess up a word, lean into it and laugh at yourself and have fun with it because if you have that Hufflepuff energy, the crowd gets it, you know? They're just like, hey, it's cool. And like, I think that you honestly get more of a response if you're relatable than if you are somebody who is too practiced, if that makes sense. But that's like my very specific experience with public speaking. I actually do have a tip. If you have any way of going to the venue or if you're doing it from home or whatever, like if you know where you're speaking, like get used to that space. Because I know I become 90% more comfortable once I've been in the room that I'm going to speak in. I'm just like, okay, I can imagine the size of crowd. I can imagine like looking out on the faces. This will be fine. So, if you can. I remember when I was speaking at Max, I was like over the moon grateful that they were doing it at the exact same convention hall that SEBWI had been in like a few months before. So I was just like, oh, I know exactly where I'll be speaking because I literally was sitting in the crowd a few months ago. It's really nice to know that space and just feel like, okay, they can do it, I can do it, totally fine. And just trust that you know the material and people are there to listen to you talk. So, like, you don't have to apologize for being there or feel like you're not supposed to. I know that imposter syndrome is a big thing that plagues our industry, but, you know, a lot of people have been throwing around tips and stuff for not feeling it, and I love that. I don't know of any personally. Like, I think just knowing that, like, hey, like, you are here, they want to hear your experiences or whatever they're like asking you to talk about. So that alone should get rid of the imposter syndrome feeling. But if it doesn't, look up on Twitter imposter syndrome tag or something, and I'm sure you'll find some artists talking about it. Studio Long says, or wait, yeah, I think streaming on Twitch has helped me with that a little. I really hope so because it's basically the same thing, except you don't know how big the audience is, so you kind of have to speak to everyone and be like, okay, if everyone I ever knew is watching this stream, this is how I talk. Long says, even though I'm still a little terrible at talking to people, you're not terrible at talking to people. I mean, at least online. You're lovely to talk to. But no, I feel that same way. I would say that about myself too. But you kind of have to just be like, yeah, I'm terrible at it, but I'll do it. Like it shouldn't dissuade you in any way. And being terrible is in a lot of ways relatable, so it could be used as a plus. Zona says, I'm not super scared to give impromptu talks. I can talk. Elocution. It's the ones that I have prep time for that intimidate me. Totally understand that. Lol, I'm a Ravenclaw. Then you're overthinking it already. Makes sense. So a garage, lol. Definitely. And then you'll have like an echo chamber to practice in. Perfect. I'm talking to a lot of MoGraph professionals, but also feeling the imposter syndrome, tempted to make that the topic, especially since the last one I was one of 3 girls out of at least 40 people. That is an insane ratio of women in the industry. Hot dang. Well, good for you making a difference and being one of those 3. That is a really good topic to talk about for sure. I totally understand the having prep time intimidates you kind of thing. I like the, what do you call it? Like the procrastination kind of thing kicks in a lot. Okay, I'll see you in a sec, Zona. I'll hold off on talking about this. Get off the bus safely. Oh, I remember riding buses every day. Not my fave. Not by a long shot. Okay. We're going to finish this lady up real soon. I feel like I'm channeling myself in her a little bit. Like, this just feels like me with shorter hair as a kid, where it was just this little, like, she's a chunk, and she's also, I mean that in her design. Like, she is a, like, one singular chunk of a character. And then, like, wearing little dresses and stuff, I remember, I didn't really wear dresses as a kid unless my mom made them for me, which, thank you, Mom. That's so sweet. But when I did, I felt so special, and it was like this, big moment of dressing up kind of thing. And I was also quite the ham. That like when kids are wonderfully just completely open with themselves and don't feel any intimidation of like other people will judge me. They're basically not self-aware yet, or what do you call it? Self, scared of how they come off. There's a word for it. I'm just blanking. I remember those days when I was completely just not aware of being a fool. Some may call it annoying. But I'm slowly but surely getting back to that place, I feel like. Because now it's just to the point where it's like, you're a child and you don't know. And then suddenly when you are aware of self-aware, self-conscious, thank you, Long, thank you, satisfaction, self-conscious. When you suddenly become self-conscious, you kind of have to get over that hump of like, I am super self-conscious, which of course is middle school, because freaking puberty and horribleness. I hated middle school, and I think everybody did. And then you get to the point where you stop caring, and it's like, it's a long journey to get to the not caring, but I do feel like that is the way that people should be as much as possible. Because think about how much you think about other people and how they come off. It's very rare that you remember like somebody else's fumbles, or like if somebody gave a bad speech or something, like you're probably not even gonna remember it. You're just gonna remember the good ones, because the good ones are the ones where you're like, that stuck in my mind, it makes sense, it's really good. The bad ones just go away. Like, it's not a huge detriment to having like one bad whatever. Like, if you messed up talking to somebody who was really important, it's fine, they're probably not gonna remember it. If you said something embarrassing in front of your in-laws, like, don't worry. You're a whole person. You are not that one sentence or phrase. Like, it'll go away. Long says, yeah, they have to be super odd for me to even give it a second thought. Like, super odd. Yes, I totally agree. And even then, I normally forget it later. I know. I've only rarely thought of like, this person like wasn't as engaging as I needed them to be, so I was like almost falling asleep. But like sometimes that's not even their fault, it's like my state of mind. But on the other hand, I'm only thinking of that because I want to learn from it, because I want to get better at like engaging the audience or something. So that is again just a learning experience, and totally not something that should haunt them or make them feel like they aren't a good speaker in any way. It's just like, hey, a student learned from you in a way that you weren't intending, but that's like totally fine. if somebody thought like, oh, I could learn from her speech because it was so bad, like that's fine by me as long as you learn something. Like I'm doing my job, right? And it's far better to take a risk than to not try anything new. So good on you, Zona, for speaking and taking an engagement that like obviously is very needed in your industry. It's insane that there are that few women in a room of your peers. Kills me. Children's books are very largely populated by women, and to the point where I sometimes feel bad for the guys because at SCBWI in the West Coast one, they had to like convert the men's bathroom to women. That was how outnumbered the men were. And it made me feel like, okay, well, I don't want to take away their bathroom. That seems a little rude. But then it's like logistically, if there are lines for one and like nobody's in the other, I understand it. But I hope that, you know, it doesn't become a woman's thing where it's like, oh, only the ladies can do this. It's like, no, anybody could do it. It's just, do you want to? Like, if you want to, I think any industry should be open to you, no matter what your demographic. I mean, have I said enough progressive things in this one stream? I mean, that shouldn't even be progressive. That's so silly. It's just one of those things that, like, I always expect the world to be further than it is, and am disappointed by it many a time. But there are certain things that, like, you know, you gotta have more women in the MoGraph industry. That is, like, a basic thing, and I'd be very interested to see why there aren't more women in it. I always assume that everything should be, like, 50-50-ish. Like, outliers totally understand, but like if it's just men, just women, like why? Oh no. I get mistaken for a guy all the time online. Yeah, I mean, I think I assumed you were a guy when I first saw your name. No idea why. Studio Long? I don't know. What about that name is guy or girl? It's very gender neutral. Between my art style and the name Taylor, oh, people assume I'm a guy till they see me. Like all the Taylors I know are female. That's so funny. Sorry, I'm gonna turn on this light for a second. But yeah, like Taylor is definitely a unisex name, and I guess it's interesting to be assumed online because I've never had that experience. Like Anna is very clearly female, and I think my presence is kind of like a very feminine one online. Like I say, "Oh golly" or whatever, and people are like, "Girl," but what was I gonna say? Oh, I was just reading something on Imager. So this is just purely taken from like online source. So totally disregard it. Could be fake. But there was something where there were two workers at a company. One of them was female, and it took her longer to get the same job done as the male. And the male one time was using her email for some reason and found that this client was being ridiculously like hesitant, second guessing him all the time, saying like, you might not know what you're talking about. Can I, you know, like contact your manager or something like that? And it was like they tested it using her email and his email and the responses they got from clients, and it was all just resistance against the female. Now, like, of course, with a grain of salt, that could be totally false, and like I'm not saying it always happens where like females always have the harder path or anything like that, but it's very interesting to take into consideration like just perception online of like somebody's aptitude for something based on their name. Like, there should be absolutely no assumptions made, gender or otherwise, based on, like, somebody's name. So, it just makes me question, like, biases based on what you assume someone's gender to be. It's kind of ridiculous. Definitely ridiculous, but, I feel for anyone who's ever had a rough client. Any human being, because I know that clients can be, interesting challenges. Ugh. Long says, "Yeah, it's still ingrained in our culture that females can be more questioned more easily." Kills me. It's just like I don't know. I think questioning anyone is it has to be earned. Like there has to be some kind of concern for you to question someone. And I think a lot of times clients just don't feel like they need a need. They don't even need like a reason to question sometimes. Now, obviously, that completely depends on the client. There can be lovely people who know everything that they're talking about. It's just one of those things that like is pervasive in the art industry is people assuming that they know better than the person they're literally hiring to do the job. It's like, why did you hire me if you don't think I can do it well? Like, you have to trust at a certain point. Just trust. It's not hard. It trust. Oh, I think I'm getting too caught up in this talk. I'm overlining things. Whoops, that was the wrong layer. Okay, I'm going to quickly, and I need to end the stream soon because I'm already over time, bust out her facial features, and then I'll show all three of them. I might do a little bit of color adjustment, but I'm definitely going to end this soon so that I can make some adjustments off stream for it. And if you guys ever want to see the finished version of whatever I create, I'm definitely going to post it on social media. So no worries there. It'll be somewhere. And let's do our little finger trick where we do one side of the finger and then we can separate them like that. Again, I can change this color anytime I want. The color of the line, I mean. Ah, Zona's returned. Long says, I use the mystery to my advantage. I like it. That's awesome. Cool. Thanks for letting us distract you. Oh god, dang. I just choked on my own saliva. Thanks for killing me on stream. It's nice. Zona, fun. It's fun to be distracted and die. Like, I can't get enough of it. So, Zona, we were talking about something and I totally forgot. So, sorry about that. But I'm really glad that you're here and I hope that life is doing amazing things for you. I think that just being a speaker at a MoGraph event is like super awesome. Like, you should be very, very proud of yourself to be at that point. And just, yeah, like, congratulations. That's amazing. I would love to do speaking events again, but I don't know if I'll ever sign up for them again. No, I will eventually. It's just one of those things that, like, you really have to push yourself to be engaged with and, like, be active and, like, I will talk. I will do the thing. Actually, I do know that they want me back for Max this year, so I will be at Adobe Max again. If, nothing else changes. I definitely want to have a pattern on her sweater. I don't know what it is yet. Doing a little bit of pleating on her skirt, just a little implication of it. And then let's do that gold up here. Cute! And then her legs need a little color. Let's do this one for the leggings. And she's got socks over her leggings like a cool lady. You know how we do. And then the red. Gonna be red like this. Stoop. Let's see. She looks kind of goofy. I think it's how much tooth she has in her mouth. There's a lot of tooth. Zona says, thanks, I'm excited to talk, but it's a strange feeling. Yes, I understand. Hope to see you at Max. I want to go. Heck yeah. If you can, make it to Max. Like, we have to get together then. But yeah, the whole environment, I'm really not sure what it's going to be like because this year, this is one of the things that they said they really wanted to change for the residency. We spent so much time at the booth, like talking to people and kind of just selling the residency a bit. And so I never really got an experience of what Max is like. So I'm very curious this year. I don't even know if like a ticket to Max is included with your talk. I assume it would be, but I'm not sure. But the actual experience of it would be a novel thing next year. I would be very excited to experience that. I can't afford Max. Going to Creative South though. Ooh, I don't even know what Creative South is. Have you guys heard about Lightbox? Because that's one I'm definitely going to. I already bought the tickets for that. And that is mostly for animation, but like artists in, you know, that area. I always consider myself kind of on the cusp of animation still, even though I'm much more illustration bound now. You can always be an illustrator and do visual development as well if they want your look for their film or short, whatever. And so I always consider it kind of open still, and I want to keep up on the industry. Yeah, that one looked cool. Yeah, it's run by Bobby Chu and one of the runners of Emerald City, which is going on right now. And also, I'm definitely doing, if I can get in, of course, Crafty Wonderland in December of this year, which is probably going to be my first show of like a convention, which is kind of crazy because I've been meaning to go to conventions for years and years and years and still haven't actually done it. So there's no better time than now. Okay, I'm going to throw a little bit of a color balance layer to once again kind of equalize out what I've got going on here. Alright. Yeah, I like that. A little bit more saturated. And I think what I want to do is maybe like white flowers on her shirt. Little implied white flowers. Maybe I could just use this color and kind of tie it in. I think I need it to be a little bit lighter. Maybe a little warmer. Yeah, I think that works better. Doop, doop, doopy doop. They'll be 4-leaf flowers, so they'll kind of call back to the butterfly clip. That's at least the plan. So when implying these patterns, that just means I'm going real fast. Doop, 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 doop. Yeah, that's really cute. I like that. Zona says, I want to go to 99U too. Last year I just watched The Residence through the windows. Oh, that's so sad. Through the windows, looking longingly. Yeah, we'll be at 99U again this year. That's actually one of the things that we're doing in New York during the closing ceremony. So if you come this year, we got to hang out. And I am not talking at 99U this year just because I knew that it wasn't going to be the right time for me to. But I will definitely be helping other residents with their talks. So if you go to any of those, I'll see you as well. And in retrospect, that last sentence just makes me sound like a creep. But honestly, I wanted to go to the conference and live not far away. I love that vision of just let me in. You could probably hear some of the talks from outside. Oh, you're goofy. I think that's very full of character of you, and we like to see that kind of initiative. And hey, if you do whatever it takes, you're my kind of gal. All right, what I'm gonna do is, even though she's not like completely done and figured out, I want to set her up next to the other characters to make sure they're all kind of jiving together. So what I'm gonna do is group, and as usual, we're just gonna duplicate and flatten. Duplicate and flatten. And duplicate and flatten. Boop. Alright, now we're going to take all of these guys and we're just gonna squish them down. Hopefully that's enough room. Whoops. Alright, and then we're gonna have boop and boop. Cute. Oh my gosh, they're cute. So she's way more saturated than the other two, so I might need to pump up their colors a bit. But I'm digging the way that they're going so far. I think they're super cute. I might size her up a little bit in comparison to the others. The important thing is when sizing up is that generally the heads are the same size. That's always the point of reference for the sizes of characters. If you make the head small, the body's going to feel bigger. You know, if you make the head big, the body becomes small, that kind of thing. So always keep that in mind when designing your characters. Zona says, lol, I spent way too much time trying to see if I could get in last minute. Aw. I got laid off a week before the conference, so it was kind of sad. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, so many people to network with and so close, but no ticket. I know. And you want to just, like, catch people outside the door and be like, hey, can we talk? I'm kind of there, too, in spirit. Love the Dragon Dino hoodie. I want one. Heck yeah. Oh, I think you can. Lineup looks great. I know. I want this jacket, too. So real quick, I'm just going to throw a few adjustment layers on to see if we can unify their saturation levels a little bit. And then we can call it good for the night, and then I will definitely finish these up and post them so that you can see like the final product. Okay, so I just upped the saturation a little bit. Now I'm going to go into, I think, the yellows for her and turn them... Oh, wait. Her skin tone is mostly yellow. The reds. And see if I can make it just a little... Oh, that's kind of cute! A little bit of orange on her with the green. It's not a usual color combo, but I like it. There. Yeah, I like that a little bit. Yeah. What do you guys think? I think I like that. And then I could apply it to the group down below. This is the flatten layer, so don't worry about that. I can always apply this to everything else. And then I think I might turn down the hotness for her just a little bit. I don't want to take away her sparkle, but I just want to make sure she's okay. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. All right, so this is our lineup today. Here. Hopefully you can see it over my fat face. There we go. All right, got it. Woo. So it looks so different on my other screen. It's kind of crazy. I definitely need to recalibrate and make sure the colors of this match as much as possible. My Cintiq looks so good. So guys, if you can, like, drag this screen to a Cintiq if you have one. It looks way better on there color-wise. But this is the design so far. Like I said, I will still work on it because I like buttoning up things. I might use one of these as the hero image for my character design class that I will be teaching this summer on svslearn.com. If you are interested in that at all, they're going to post about it pretty soon, and you can sign up for like pre-order of it or whatever, and make sure you're in on the class. I believe for members of SVS it's $450, and then if you're not a member it's $500. That would be a 9-week course all about character design, and it would be tailored critique from me every week about your work in particular. And Like, it's all just getting better at making characters. I'm tailoring it to like intermediate artists who feel somewhat confident in their drawing abilities but want to get better at their art. So hopefully, if you're interested in that, you can afford it. Sorry, I can't give discounts. I'm not allowed. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. So these are the character designs that we came up with tonight, or I should say character paintings, because I designed them before the stream. But throughout the class, I will definitely show more iterations of what I went through to design these characters and how I got to their final designs. So yeah, I hope you guys had fun. You're amazing people, and I love you so much. And just know that you are amazing. And never take yourself for granted. And be that lady that you want to be, or man, or transgender, or binary, non-binary, anyone. Be the person you want to be. Okay. Let's read it out. So Zona says, "Oh, the orange and yellows are so cute." Oh, I'm so glad. Oh wait, Zona, you said that's a good. Yeah, sorry, I was a little behind. That's a good tip. I should use that when designing my characters for MoGraph. Yeah, you should. The head size is always a huge thing. I remember recently I was drawing Hagrid, and I was like, that big friendly face, and I'm like, wait, he's a huge character, I need to make his face smaller. And it totally changes the design when you do that. Like, you want somebody to feel bulky, their head needs to be and then, oh, the oranges and yellows are so cute. I'm so glad. Studio Long says, they're adorable, nice work. Zona says, that sounds like fun. I've been trying to take the MoGraph class though, and it costs just under $900, so it's a battle of who to learn from. Totally understand. Yeah, it's definitely important to choose your battles and, like, you know, what you feel like you need to improve on the most. Actually, there was just a really good podcast from SVS. So if you guys don't know, my favorite podcast right now is definitely the SVS podcast, and it's all just about getting better with your art. And their recent topic was, I think it was something like, what holds you back? Like, what kind of ideas in your mind will keep you from getting to that goal? And oh my gosh, it, like, everything in it just speaks to you. I feel like it's just universal to all artists of like, oh yeah, I did that, or I'm doing that currently, where you're just like thinking about things in the wrong way, like what you want to do with your life, and going for the easy route in a lot of ways. Like, Lee always makes that point very clear, like, he's super eloquent how he says it, that you just need to make every piece work for you. Like, every piece should be a stepping stone to where you want to be in the future, and making it that clear is just like, oh yeah, like, I did a lot of throwaway pieces that were just for me, like, they were fun, they were really cool, but they didn't get me anywhere with my career. They weren't, you know, something that I could show off and be like, this is what I want to do in the future. They were just vanity pieces. And when you put in the really hard work to make it a quality piece for your portfolio, or to, you know, be in a book or whatever you're going for, animated, then you have to go through a hard part. It's not always going to be super easy. It's going to be hard, and it's so much worth it. Like, don't expect it to just be easy and fun all the time. It's going to be hard work, but it's going to be really rewarding once you get through it. So, worth it. I also got a shout out in the podcast, so guys, listen to it. It's all about me. No. Studio Long says, Lee, Will, and Jake produce great content, and the group dynamic between them is hilarious. It so is. I crack up every time I listen to it, but I always wonder if that's just because I know them as people, because it's just funny when your friends talk. But yeah, they are actually just wells of information, and it's a really good podcast just all together. They do a good job. I love the dynamic where everybody's just like, okay, Will's gonna tell a story, buckle in, because he tells every detail. Like, he gets into it so, like, he's writing a book while he's telling it. And I love that, because I know Lee and Jake are like, on to the next thing, make the point and move on. And Will's just like, let me tell you about the 3rd of May when it was raining one day and I had a dog outside my window. It's just like, oh, okay. I love it. But all of them have such wonderful information to give to the public. And that's a free podcast. Like, just listen to it on iTunes or their site. It's called 3 Point Perspective. It's really good. Zona says, that's kind of what I've been struggling to do. I wanted to animate a Pi Day animation, but didn't get time, so it just ended up being a vector doodle, for example. Oh, totally. I understand that completely. It's always annoying when there's a date for it, where you're like, okay, I'm working toward, like, May the 4th be with you, or something like that, and it's like, missed it. Darn it. I would always do that in Inktober and be like, it's still valid, right? And the tags are just dead. Zena says, really need to add more animations to my portfolio. Just remember, it's what you love to do, so just do it. Just do the heck out of it. It's really nice sometimes to have that job that is super boring, so you're just like dying to get to the stuff you love. It's really nice. Studio Long, they have shouted you out twice. I know. It's like I said I was on the forums, I was just like, I always feel this dread and anticipation when they mention my name. Well, when Lee says something about it, I'm just like, what's he gonna say? Is he gonna say I'm horrible? Is it gonna be the worst thing ever? And he's always really nice, but I'm just like, what if I'm secretly really difficult to work with and I don't know it? But no, Lee and I have a great like back and forth, so it's always been wonderful working with him. Zona says, Anna always needs shout outs. She's just that cool. Obviously. Hey, shout out to Kendall for being just that cool. Oh, yeah. You're going to be on YouTube forever now. Just know that. Long says, he's got to take you on the journey. I appreciate his meandering. This is about Will, totally. Lol, Lee's episode was secretly about you. Well, he did use a really good example. The Harry Potter piece was like pulling teeth, and I love that because sometimes when I'm with him, like working on a piece like that, I feel like, am I disappointing him by being like not good enough yet? And then he comes out saying, like, actually, it was really good because we worked on it. Like, we had to work for it, you know, it wasn't just a given. And then I realized, like, okay, what I think of me being like a bad student or whatever, it's not being bad. It's just, it's working for what you're getting to. And that, you know, they always say stuff like every failure is a lesson, you know, but it feels bad when it's happening, you know, it doesn't feel like you're nailing it. But what is not nailing it actually is just not getting the work done. If you're putting the work in and it's just not to the level yet, that's fine. Like, that is a learning process. But not doing the work is when you disappoint your teacher. And that's the only way you can really do it. Other than saying that you know better than them or like that you're just not going to take critique. That would be bad too. But the idea that, you know, I just wasn't ready for that particular piece, but through doing it, I was ready. Like that's really encouraging. So sometimes it's just doing the work that you're afraid of. And like he said, it was like, when I first said, like, I'm going to do Harry Potter because there's no other story that I feel as passionately about, he was like, cool, let's do Harry Potter. And then in the next few weeks, he's like, you picked Harry Potter. It's been done well. It's been done recently. It's on everybody's mind. And why did you pick this? I'm just like, sorry, I can't in good conscience do something else when I know I haven't done this yet. Like, I would be happy to move on to other stories once I've explored this. By the way, I'm doing spot illustrations based on Harry Potter, so I'm going even further deep into it. So I'm really happy. I love working on Harry Potter. It's really fun. And I know that if I ever like got the chance to actually work on Harry Potter IP, I'd be so sad if I like hadn't done this work, you know? I want to have done this work, so that's what I'm doing. Zona says, those are the best pieces because you can feel the growth. Exactly. If it's not a struggle, then what's the point? Lol, that's always difficult to pick something amazing. I really want to do book trailers for Harry Potter one of these days. Do it! I can't stress enough. Just, like, do the work you want to do. It's so good. Long says, aw, yeah, that's gonna be great. So, that was part of my pitch for an alternative series for the Creative Res. Heck yeah. That's, like, everybody is a fan of Harry Potter. I always thought, like, oh, you can't pitch, like, fan art or whatever. Always a discussion about fan art. That's also going on in the forums on SVS about fan art because it's just, you know, some people regard it as everything they do. Some people regard it as never do that. But I do think there is a happy medium where you do what you want to do, and especially if you handle it seriously, it'll come across as serious work. It's portfolio work if you make it portfolio work. So there's no reason that it's just literally a story that people already know. You don't have to do a lot of the legwork. Zona says, I wanted to be a booktuber at one point. I love that term. So I wanted to do book trailers for my favorite series and review them. That sounds amazing. I wanted to animate, what do you call them? Music videos. And now I'm realizing just how much work, like, not only just the physical animating of it, obviously that would be a huge thing, but also coming up with a story to tell based off of a song is incredibly heavy task, because you have to do basically all of the storytelling that go to lyrics. Like, unless it's maybe a Florence and the Machine song and it's literally like My Boy Builds Coffins, and you could have like a coffin making montage, but it's something different when it's a really open-ended song and it's like, you know, flowy, and you like, how do you decide what to animate to that? It's a big chunk of work. Anyways, all the respect to people who can do things like that. Animation forever will be the love of my life, and I don't know if I will ever fully animate anything. Like, maybe a little bit of like leg kicking, but never like full beautiful animation. It's too amazing and overwhelming. Long says, yeah, with Will's Kickstarter, yeah, that's the problem, is he's doing kid versions of a lot of Disney and Marvel IP, and so he's running into some trouble with that. I'm very curious how it'll pan out, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but his Kickstarter, his first one went through with no problem, so I wonder if they're going to attack that one too. I really hope not. Ooh. But whatever happens with Will, I'm sure he will make the best of it. Zona says, oh yeah, I added music video to my dream portfolio. It's a Green Day song animated by Blink My Brain. I'm gonna look that up. Do you watch Beth Be Rad? Yes! She just finished one. Beth Be Rad too. Okay. Be Rad. And Blink My Brain. That's awesome. I am always looking for new animation to watch. I'm, of course, addicted to everything Goblins. James has actually been putting together a kind of dream portfolio of animation, because he's a character designer for animation, so a lot of that, like, looking for reference is still frames of these animations. And some of them, I'm just remembering how ridiculously beautiful they are. I love animation so much. Can't get over it. Zona, she's always on my top YouTubers and Twitch streamers that I love. I love her and Anna Akana work. Super cool. It seemed like it was like a task and a half. It was super cool. Yeah. Zona says, I was so into Blink My Brain, I picked tagging and paying attention to his work over a Banksy. Oh, wow. That's awesome. All right, I will definitely check out these people. I want to see everything that you guys are experiencing as your reference and beautiful things. Is that a blinking light behind me? It's so weird. Not sure. Anyways, I have to go. Dinner time. So thank you so much for joining in, especially Kendall. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to, stream at the wrong time all the time. Everybody, thank you for joining. Studio Long, you're always such a trooper. Thank you so much. And Kim, see you, Kim. Have a great night, you guys. I love you. I'll see you later. And bye-bye. Have a great night.